We have a lot of news about Planet Zoo 2, including some exclusive new footage that we are going to go over in a minute. But before we look at that a bit more in detail, there is actually more news I have gathered together for you. I'm just clicking through a couple of tabs I have open, including a new Guess the Animal over here that we are going to do in a minute. But we also do have a lovely little TikTok preview of some sort and a lot of other news that came around these other days this week. There is a bit of a sad news, at least for me personally. We'll get to that in a minute. This is most specifically about no dolphins and no cetaceans. We are going to talk about that in a second. But just let me quickly state, I'm trying to do a weekly roundup on Friday or Saturday each week now, and I'm going to cover some animal reveals, but I try to not go over every single news because at the moment there is each day a new article, news, whatever, which is going to be nuts. And next week I'm also on holiday, so it's going to be a bit harder to prepare. So just that as a little bit of a preview here. Anyways, before we go into that footage, and don't worry, it's going to be full on your screen in a moment, this is going to be something interesting. So first of all, we've got an article over here, which I'm very curious to why it's not blown up more over these days. It's from June 24th, so it's a couple of days ago, and it's a lot of, knowledge we already had, like, that there's a lot of generational leap in here with Animals 2.0 that we've heard about. There's most of the animals we've seen already confirmed. We do actually get a lot of interesting news about what I've already talked about, that the animals but also the physics have been improved incredibly. So for example over here, player position, support poles and barriers, and the net roof physically drapes between attachment points, which is the aviary kind of thing we've talked about. But they also talk about the engine changes that I also talked you guys through, and why Planet Zoo 2 is a new game and all the animals have been completely built from the ground up. So it's a very interesting article. If you're gonna read that, that's interesting. But what you obviously want to know is that statement over here. And it's a bit of an interesting one. My friend Eben pointed something very important out, because I was about to do a video like, oh, final confirmation, but it's not quite that final. So it's mostly sharing what they have on their website, and I was also confused to why after this article they didn't state the same thing on the website, because that would have been just fair. However, they say one notable absence from the confirmed species is deliberate. Frontier stated, whilst we know dolphins, whales and porpoises are popular species in the natural world, it's important to us all animal represented Planet Zoo have environments that best reflect the requirements. That is actually the exact quote from the website. And then they continue in the article, for species whose behavioral needs include open ocean ranges measured in thousands of miles, no aquarium in the Cobra engine can simulate would meet that standard. That decision, made at the genre's frontier between simulation fidelity and real-world animal welfare advocacy, signals the kind of studio Planet Zoo is trying to be. Yeah, reading it a couple of times, there's a couple of things to see here. So first of all, they go into a limitation of the Cobra engine, which is a bit of a weird phrasing if you ask me, simply because I'm not sure if the engine is the limitation to making like an open area. You could just like make a huge map with water in and simulate them in. I'm pretty sure the engine could handle that. It's more about the idea and the decision the studio takes, and not like Planet Zoo 2 is not a studio. Frontier is the studio, so it's more like what the game is going to be. So as Eben rightfully so pointed out, this seems to be, from over here, seems to be more like a subjective opinion of the editor of that article. I read it, first of all, in the way that this is basically quoting what Frontier is saying, but as this is a direct quote from the website, honestly, I don't think we have any news to that. I think it's not given that Frontier is going to exclude them. As I already said in the past, it may still be a case with it, and this is meant to be, like, for example, in the wildlife reserves, for example. So still, this seems to be like, maybe this is confirmation and Frontier has not just, I don't know, has given them more infos than us or others, but I don't think so. It would have been a bigger thing, I guess, at the end of the day. Anyways, moving over to the next one, which is the Guess the Animal. That is something, I'm quoting that by Caesar, by the way. The reason why I'm doing this is I did not receive the newsletter, even though I'm absolutely subscribed to it, and I have no idea why that is. Well, we are sitting here now and looking at this. Yeah, people are saying like it could be a Wolverine, could be a red panda. My bet would be on red panda, to be honest. Such a cutie. Would also make sense maybe that if the next animal reveal round would be Asian animals, that would be a fitting fitting thing here, to be honest. That would be the next reveal, Zoopedia teaser. We're going to know on Tuesday. But yeah, it's a tail. Well, actually, that is a very nice knowledge. And then I wanted to share 2 videos with you from the wonderful TikTok, and actually 3 videos it is. I highly recommend checking out the TikTok. I'm constantly reposting these things, but they have some really cool stuff. Let me just play that one over here because it's so funny. I'm just going to play that because I love that. It's generally funny. Let's just, come on. All right, so I mean, that was obviously very, very fun. I love the new content Frontier's going for, but again, the Hippo may actually be another example of how much the animals have changed. Like, there's also that photo from that press article. I somewhere should have it, or maybe I've forgotten to put it in. But yeah, you'd see the animal in action. We have not only confirmation of Hippo, but also now see how it looks. And oh man, it's just like the graphics in this game will be absolutely blown us away. It is so crazy. But then I also have a little Zoopedia teaser over here that they set the Zoopedia. But more interesting than that is I also love the fact they are using that meme over here. But also, they do have a bit of footage of the African penguin, which we're going to see in a bit. We are also going to see the African penguin in the walkthrough in a bit. But there you have it, that little fellow going over here. And at the beginning, you may think, oh, it's not even that much of a change. But if you look at the model specifically on like the fur details and stuff and the feathers and so on, it's no comparison to the first game. Like, I don't know, I think we are getting used to the look of Planet Zoo 2 already. But if you go back to Planet Zoo 1 and have a look at the animals, you're like, almost like certainly blown away by how much of a difference that is. But yeah, you also see the European bison here for a second. And then they also have the news that there is going to be the UK PC gamer feature, which is a bit of a pain. I can't get hands-on of this, but I've seen all the other creators already having a look at it. You can see some really incredible photos in there, some of which are now featured as well on the website for the Zoopedia, so that's kind of cool as well. There has been like a lot of knowledge in there, specifically aquatic tunnels have been confirmed. This is the photo I was talking about earlier. Incredible detail they have in there, like a super nice feature. They confirm that there is like a day and night cycle. I already talked about that as well. Animals will behave accordingly to their day and night cycle. Animals can sleep now in a lot more positions. So there's a lot of interesting news that's coming with these articles, but obviously they're out there the moment people have gotten their hands on it. So really interesting, but now I guess we should move over to that brand new footage, 1 minute 10 of footage. I'm going to keep it short, but there's still a lot to see in there. So let's quite do this, and I'm very curious to see what you guys are saying. I'm going to bring on the full footage, and we're going to look through it. All right, there we have it on screen, and you can see this is the same park we've been seeing a couple of times. But the good thing about this is actual game footage. You can see there's even like sound. I don't have music put in back on, but I can show you real quick. There's like actual sound you're having when you're basically going through, but I'm just going to deactivate the sound here real quick, and we've got some more music. So here you can see another look inside of the tiger habitat, and man, I'm like this, like the whole looks of it, the size of it, the graphics, everything looks so different, incredibly different from what we've seen in Planet Zoo 1, but also in Planet Coaster. You can see the swimming has been rather crazily improved. It's now really cool to see how different the ripples are over here compared to, for example, the crocodile. The underwater view in a bit of a murky water over here is just generally so nice. The global illumination down here, also loving those two holding hands, and you've got that teen girl going alone. Then you can see some of the new feeding trays, which is super interesting to see, or maybe it's even an enrichment, and you can see how it's nicely buried in the ground and not like super flat. That seems to be a huge improvement. We like to see that, but also loving to see some more animations of the secretary bird here. It's ridiculously nice. Then we can see a wonderful chimpanzee habitat. Also, I guess this is part of the habitat we've already seen. Yeah, you can tell how much they have improved, and also going back, there is a bit of a nice rock detail over here on the right hand side. what I especially love about that rock is not only the detail on it, but also the 3D model itself, the depth of it. Like, it's looking like a real solid stone, like Global Illumination does its thing. This is legit one of the pieces I'm already super sad to not have in Planet Coaster, for example, because it, like, everything in this game seems to be catered a lot more towards realism, versus Planet Coaster tries always to be like funky theme park-ish, and I really like the fact that we have it in here. Yeah, again, as I said, I'm generally just so blown away by how nice that all looks. Look at that habitat here for the giraffes and zebras. Here we can see another zookeeper chilling about on one of these benches. That bench is a little oversized though, but yeah, very nice detail. You can see like a lot of lovely little details. One thing I'm really curious about to know is still how the different scenery sets kind of work together. We have confirmation that the 4 sets we've seen, the like northwest, southeast, that they are the new themes, and I'm wondering what themes are coming back. And I think I have one particular. Yeah, is that a negative really? I don't really know, but I personally think it is a negative. I'll get to that when we see it in a bit. One thing I wanted to, oh my god, that looks so good. One thing I wanted to point out is look at these little branches lying around over here everywhere. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, that shot, like with the wrinkles and the skin texture, and oh my god, it's just like I could go crazy above it the whole time. There we see one of the enrichment items we know from the first game. We see one of these little stands that we have them now. Look at these details here from that little trunk, and oh god, it's like genuinely looking so fantastic everywhere. This shot over here in particular looks also so cool. Another shot at the crocodile, and you can tell how different it looks from the first game. This is like a proper realism shot here. If there were not these people, you could mistake that for a photo. Generally so impressed, but also seeing how they have improved seemingly the animations here as well. Really cool. This is a little shot at the African penguin, as you can see here, diving a little bit, and then the water levels and stuff, how good that looks. Also a little feed here of the global animation. Look at that light popping up here on the left. You can see how that is still lit in daytime as well. A very strong light, I should say. Really good. And then you can see this entire thing over here. The overlook of this area looks freaking insane. The same park we've been seeing a couple of times now. Really cool to see. I want to go back to one specific scene though, just to showcase something I noticed, and that was relatively at the beginning. There you go. So when we're here, you can see on the left hand side that mud wall is legit 1-to-1 the mud wall from the African set of Planet Coaster 1. The same goes for that bin over here, and I believe even this pottery is the same. Same goes about these things. We all have these things. This is all from the African theme of the first game. So, and this is where my little sad news come in. As we have confirmation that the Northwest, East and South theme have been confirmed as new themes, this is exactly where my fear was going. The South theme looks super African, while we seemingly also get the African theme as a returning theme. That means we get like a whole bunch of African scenery items, like a whole bunch of them. But I personally would have preferred to see something new as well alongside it. I mean, we're getting 9 themes in total, so maybe I will not complain once I see what is all in, and we will have an insane amount of pieces. But yeah, as the South theme is just so similar to the African theme, that could be a bit of a pain. However, guys, that's been it. I'm just going to keep this footage rolling for my outro. Generally, I'm so impressed by every little bit of news that's coming out. I hope you guys are too. I'm going to catch you up on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when I have time, with the animal reveals. Going to see if that is actually a red panda or not. And then we're going to talk about all the other news coming up next week on next week's weekend. See you there. Have a good time. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.